In this video, we'll look at an example of using a display array to browse through a result set. So you can see in this program, a set of data has been displayed to this table container within this window, within this form. And as I select a row, the standard blue highlighter is highlighting which row I'm currently on. And if I select OK or cancel, I can accept or cancel that display array instruction that I'm currently in. Now, something else to note about the display array is the table container that we're using here. Some of the features on a table container can be very useful to your users. For example, if you give them the ability, you can have the column headings be used to sort the data that is locally stored here on the in the user interface on the client side. So I can choose any of these to sort by. We'll sort by store number. I can also choose to turn on or off columns and display them or not. So now in this particular example, I'm not displaying the phone or not displaying the name, etc. And I can also drag and drop the columns to reorder how they're displayed as columns. This can all be very helpful. Again, you can also turn this off if you are not interested in providing that to your users. Let's look at the code that is behind the scenes working to allow the user to browse through this set of data. All right, so we have two files in this program. We have a simple 4GL file, source file, and we have a form. If we look at the form first, we'll see that it is simply a table container that is bound to a screen record called TB2, and the screen record is again the record variable that we are binding to in our program, and the table container is made up of a set of edit fields. Now if we looked at the properties on this table container, we can see that its name is TB2, so we'll see that in the code when we are displaying to this particular structure. I'll just point out that the table container object, which was named TB2, has these appearance attributes which allow you to turn off things like unsortable columns. So do you want the columns to not be able to be sorted? You would apply that attribute. If you didn't want them to be able to be sized or moved or hidden. So these attributes allow you to change the effect of that table container and turn off those default features that it has. All right, looking at the code, the first thing that happens is we've defined a record that is the store num, store name, and phone, and those are data typed just like they're typed in the database, which is referenced here by the schema cust demo. Then we're also defining a dynamic array, which is made up of a record that again is a match to the store rec record that we've created. Store num, store name, and phone. Then the next thing in the main that we're doing is connecting to the database or the data source, opening that form and displaying the form. And then we go into a menu, and the menu has just a simple action called getAll, which is calling a function getAll, which is going to be the function that is going and establishing the data and filling our array. So if we look down here at the getAll function, we can see that we've declared a cursor for selecting store num, store name, phone from the customer table. And remember, the declare statement prepares that statement to execute. The next thing we're doing is simply using one of the methods in the array or for an array object, which is clear. So we're clearing out any elements that may exist in this array that we've given the name store R. Then we're starting our for each loop, and if you recall from the concept video on using arrays, the for each loop allows us to open, fetch, and close the cursor, and as we're once we've opened that cursor, fetching all of the rows that are in that result set. And once we've exhausted that result set, it goes ahead and closes the cursor. So within this for each block, what we're going to do is pass each of the values in the cursor set one at a time to the storeRec.star. And that's our record. Then, let's see if I can open this a little bit here. Then once we've done that, we're going to append an element to the end of our array. So it's going to start with the first position, and that append element method is simply going to create that new element and initialize it to null. Then we're going to fill that element with the data from our storeRec record by using let's store r and then brackets the position in the array that we're in, and we're getting that position by using the length. So as we add a increment the elements in this array, this is going to be a different number, positioning us in the correct appended element to then supply the values to. So here we're letting store r1 dot star equals storeRec.star. Then when it loops back again, it's going to be the second position in the array, and it will be filling in the data from the second row of data that it is passed in. So once we've exhausted that result set, we will close the cursor, and then we use the display array statement to display what is in our program array to the screen array, or to our container that we have identified on the form. And the screen record, tb2.star, is again going to be is mapped as the same values that we've defined in our array. So display array store r to tb2.star, and then at that point we're in a display array and the user can accept or cancel that instruction. So let's just run this again. Here we've opened and displayed the form. We've set up our menu. When the user triggers the get all action, we are going out and executing that select statement, taking each of the values in the result set into our array and displaying that array to our TB2 screen array. And as we saw, we had all these options with our table container, which again you can turn on or off depending on what access you want your users to have in terms of manipulating that data on the screen.